One of the most religious peoples on earth are the Tibetans. High up in the Himalayas, the Tibetans are not of our religion, but they are extremely devout in their own Buddhist faith. They believe that certain saints, after finishing the earthly journey and reaching perfection, come back down to earth to help other people along the road to holiness. This is very much like what our own Saint Teresa the Little Flower promised to do when she said, "I will spend my heaven doing good on earth." For the Tibetan Buddhists, the greatest of all these saints is known as the Dalai Lama, who is believed to come down to earth again and again to assist people. In 1933, the 13th Dalai Lama died. That left a void and a quest. They had to search for the 14th. The Dalai Lama, spiritual and temporal head of the Tibetan people, is not elected as we elect our officials, nor is the position passed on from generation to generation as in royal families. Rather, the Dalai Lama is discovered and recognized. The lamas prayed for direction, where to search for the new one. In wondrous visions, they saw the house where the new Dalai Lama was to be found, and were told in which direction to look. They set off and swept over the kingdom in search of the new Dalai Lama. Finally, in 1935, in the remote part of the country where the oracles had told them to go, they found the house of poor peasant farmers that matched exactly the house they had seen in their visions. Sure enough, there was a 2-year-old boy there by the name of Tenzing Gyatso. Upon examination of his body, it was found that he bore every one of the birthmarks traditionally known to be upon the Dalai Lama. They were very excited that this might be the one sent to help them along the path of holiness. They tested the boy. The greatest of the lamas in their group disguised himself as a servant and went into the kitchen to play with the little boy. The servant was wearing around his neck a rosary, which had belonged to the 13th Dalai Lama, who had died 2 years before. When the boy saw the rosary, he immediately took it and said, "This is mine." They had other things that had belonged to his predecessor, and they set them on the table in pairs, one the real object and the other an imitation. In every case, the little boy, without hesitation, grabbed the real object, saying, "This is mine." They knew they had found the 14th Dalai Lama. It was as though the voice of God was once again heard, saying, "This is my beloved Son. This is the one I have sent to you to shepherd you through the most difficult period of your history." The Dalai Lama is not of our faith, of course, but he was always a universally respected religious leader. He remained a rock for his people during the brutal Chinese occupation, during which well over 1 million Tibetans were massacred. After his exile in 1959, the Dalai Lama became not only an inspiration to his people, but a spiritual leader for the whole world. Traditionally, a Dalai Lama is not appointed. He is discovered and recognized. Hermann Hesse, the great German author, once wrote, "It is not our purpose to become each other. It is to recognize each other, to learn to see the other and honor him for what he is." On March 17th, 2012, the Pope of the ancient Coptic Church in Egypt died. Shenouda III had reigned as a successor to St. Mark, Patriarch of Alexandria, Pope of the Coptic Church in Egypt, for about 40 years, and his passing too left a void to be filled. On November 4th of that year, in the ancient cathedral of St. Mark in Cairo, a glass chalice was placed on the altar containing the names of possible people to succeed him. A mass was solemnly offered, and the thousands of people there prayed fervently that God would send them a good shepherd. At the end of the liturgy, after a moment of profound silence, a blindfolded little boy stepped up and pulled out the name of the 118th successor to St. Mark. So it was that Tawadros II became the new Pope of the Copts. Once again the voice was heard from heaven, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. I am sending him to you to shepherd you through difficult times." In March of 2013, the eyes of the whole world were fixed on Rome and beheld white smoke ascending from the chimney at the Vatican. A new pope, a new bishop of Rome, successor to St. Peter, had been elected for the Roman Catholic Church in the person of Francis I. Once again God spoke, saying, "This is my beloved Son, sent to you as a rock and a shepherd through challenging times." It may be that we will never see a Dalai Lama, a Pope, a Christ. We may never see a wondrous vision or hear a mystical oracle pointing out a special person. But that does not mean that there are not special people in our lives right now. The voice of God cries out to us over each person we encounter. "This too is my beloved son. This too my beloved daughter. Listen to them. Treat them well. Love them." Let us listen to that divine voice. If we do not recognize each other, how can we ever hope to recognize God? If we do not see the beloved Son and daughter of God in each person around us, how will we ever see God? The great singer Pearl Bailey used to say, "People see God every day. They just don't recognize him." Let us hear that voice. Let us recognize God's beloved children all around us, that one day when we leave this world for the next, God will look upon us, recognize us, and say, "My beloved son, my beloved daughter, with you I am well